welcome back to Let's Talk. I'm John, and today we're here to talk about 2022's Nope. And we're also here to talk about its brand new 4K Blu Ray release that just came out. But before we dive into all that, if you are a fan of 4K Blu Ray reviews, movie reviews, tech and game reviews, we try and do them all here on the channel, and nothing would help us out more than by you liking this video and subscribing to the channel. So Nope was written and directed by Jordan Peele. It's his third film after Get Out and Us. And it stars Keke Palmer, Daniel Kaluuya, Steven Yeun, Brandon Perea, and Michael Wincott, who I will always know as Top Dollar from The Crow and that insanely awesome voice that he has. So we already have a non-spoiler review for this on the channel if you want to check that out from when it first came out in theaters. But this review is going to be complete spoilers, and we're also here to talk about its 4K Blu Ray. So if you haven't seen Nope yet, this is your warning. So Nope follows Daniel Kaluuya and Keke Palmer, their brother and sister. Early in the film, their father, Keith David, gets killed by what they believe to be falling debris from an airplane. It turns out it's actually falling debris from an alien creature. It is believed to be a UFO, but it actually turns out it's just one creature, basically an animal, and just like any other animal, it's gotta eat, and it starts eating people and horses in this town, but it doesn't want all that extra garbage and metal and everything, so that falling debris is basically it eliminating its waste, and that waste accidentally kills their father. But also living in this town is Steven Yeun's character, who as a child witnessed a chimpanzee on the sitcom he was working on. It's never really clarified if he killed some of his fellow actors or if he actually just beat them very, very badly. Either way, or unfortunately for the chimpanzee, he does get a bullet through the head that we see, and it obviously had a very scary and negative effect on Steven Yeun's character of Jupe. He opens up this small Western amusement park in town, and he's trying to provoke this UFO he believes as well, and he wants to put this show on for his crowd. He's buying horses from Daniel Kaluuya and Keke Palmer's character, and they have to sell those horses to keep their business afloat because they're not doing too well financially. But what they don't know is that Steven Yeun is using these horses to provoke this creature to eat and come and suck it up, and Steven Yeun wants to put this on display for his crowd, and it doesn't go as planned, as all of them, all 40 people that are there, including viewers, Steven Yeun, employees of the park, they all get sucked up into this. And Daniel Kaluuya and Keke Palmer come up with this great plan. They get help from one of the most famous cinematographers, and that's who Michael Wincott plays. And he constructs this beautiful IMAX camera that doesn't need electricity. It could just be hand cranked, and they're gonna get this on film, and it's gonna make them all rich and famous. And that is their ultimate goal, is to exploit this creature that's in the sky. And that is actually a big part of what this film is about, is spectacle and exploitation. When I first saw this movie, I was trying to understand it initially, but after watching the documentary that is on here and watching other people's views on the film, they've all basically come to an agreement in the sense that this is really dealing with spectacle and exploitation. Jordan Peele himself said that that's what he's going for. You know, early in the film we see the monkey, and basically they were exploiting that monkey, and it matches up with this alien creature who this whole town is exploiting. Even Daniel Kaluuya and Keke Palmer's character are trying to exploit this creature. It's just a regular animal, and that's what Daniel Kaluuya's character figures out pretty quickly, is that it's just an animal. It's just being territorial. It's just trying to eat, and just like any other animal, because they're horse trainers, he figures out you don't look him in the eye, you gotta respect the creature, and it'll respect you back. And, you know, it can just be tamed and wrangled in just like any other creature. And he's smart enough to figure out exactly what they need to do. And then they eventually are able to capture this on film. When I originally saw this film, I thought that Keke Palmer had the better role in this film, and Daniel Kaluuya was playing it very reserved. And I still stand by that. I think Keke Palmer steals the show in this film. I think she is incredible. I still think that she has one of the best performances for the entire year. I think she does a great job. Yes, is her role more flashy than Daniel Kaluuya's? Absolutely. But Daniel Kaluuya does play his role perfectly as this, you know, head of the household, this guy who's trying to run a business, make a name for himself. He doesn't have that show business kind of flashy performance like his sister does, but what he does know how to do is train horses, and he knows how to respect animals, and he plays that character so well. It's very reserved, and I really do love how he portrayed that character. I appreciated it a lot more on this second viewing than I really did on the first viewing. And another character who I didn't appreciate as much on the first viewing, but really stole the show again for me, is Brandon Perea's Angel. He does a phenomenal job in this movie. I'm sure we're going to be hearing and seeing more of him because he does a great job with all the scenes he's in. Actually, Jordan Peele rewrote the script, or at least rewrote that character, because the way it was originally written to the way that Brandon Perea played the character. He had to rework the entire film to make it work, but you know, he wanted to put him in the film. He thought he did a great job with the role, and he took it to the next level. And my God, he does steal a lot of the scenes that he is in. And another character actor who does a great job in this film is Steven Yeun. I found him to be actually really funny. I got some of my biggest laughs were out of his character in this, and he plays another guy who's like just trying to navigate life, figure everything out. You could tell that he's clearly traumatized from what happened to him as a kid, but he also believes that what happened to him gives him a connection to this alien creature in the sky. He's trying, again, to exploit that, because again, this film is about exploiting and spectacle and about humans. It's really turning the camera back on us and how, you know, as human beings, we do love drama and everything like that. I mean, come on, the famous news line is, if it bleeds, it leads. Unfortunately, as human beings, we do love when big, bad things happen, you know, and like, if this really did happen and an alien creature was sucking up people in a town, this would be the biggest news story in the entire world. And Jordan Peele is trying to turn that back at us and show, hey, you know what? We do like things like this more than we like things like this, if you know what I'm trying to say. You know, we are always going to be fascinated. Everybody knows about that kid on that show where the chimpanzee killed his fellow actors, because that was probably one of the biggest news stories in the world, because it's something that we can't believe happened. And that is exactly what this film is trying to illustrate to us. It's also trying to illustrate filmmaking history as well, because like I said, one of the main characters is a cinematographer. They show him actually looking at footage he's taken. They show him with a bunch of different cameras. They show him with an IMAX camera, because a lot of this film is shot in IMAX, and that IMAX camera doesn't need electricity. It's hand cranked. So I think that another big thing about this is just showing our love, or at least showing Jordan Peele's love for film and everything that he loves about the filmmaking process. And, you know, it builds up to an incredible third act that he even said in this documentary. You know, that's something that when he was a kid, that movie-making magic would have just been beautiful for him to see. And it really does build. It's a slow burn to that third act, but that third act is probably his best third act in all three of his films. You can argue that the first two-thirds of this film does move a little slow, and can be a little plotty and just really trying, you know, really taking its time to where it's going. But for me, it works great. I really do love what he's going for in this film. Is it Jordan Peele's best film? No, I don't think it is. I still think that it goes Us, Get Out, then Nope, but that doesn't mean that Nope is a bad film. I actually think that Nope is a really good film. And if you haven't checked out Nope, I can highly recommend it. But we're also here today to talk about its new 4K Blu Ray release. So this is Nope. This is the brand new 4K Blu Ray from Universal. Now, this is a studio release, so it's not a boutique label or anything like that. This is directly from Universal, so it's got your standard Universal slipcover. When you pop it open, you get this. Now, this is actually the most disappointing thing of the entire package for me, is I don't know what happened. I don't know if you could tell, but like, you know how the 4K Ultra HD boxes have the logo right on top above the actual, you know, the print. Well, underneath that, they printed another 4K Ultra HD logo, and then usually most companies would just cut this 4K Ultra HD logo off, and then this silver box would be right underneath this. Now, I'm not too sure what happened, but my best guess is that they copied the slipcover, and instead of removing that logo, they just pushed it down, because I don't understand how this actually happened, because it just looks very, at least to my eye, it looks very ugly, and it's gonna bother me forever. And there is a great steelbook of this out that I kind of regret not grabbing now. So as far as packaging goes, even though it's sight unseen, I still think the steelbook might be the better option if you're like me and your OCD is just going to drive you crazy with this, because it's absolutely driving me nuts, and I'm just not a big fan of this design. It kind of reeks of laziness to me. I don't know. That really, for me, that's the hardest thing to get past. Ever since I pulled that slipcover off for the first time, it's really bothered me, and it still bothers me to this very minute. But when you pop it open, you get two discs. You get your 4K disc, and you get a regular Blu-ray disc. I do appreciate the art design, that these are both not the same exact plain discs. I like the skull in there, which is Keith David's skull, I believe, from the beginning of the film. And I really do like what they did with that. You know, simple, plain. It's Universal Pictures release. You know, we're not going to get any kind of beautiful, anything too special. Although that, like I said, the steelbook is very nice, and I wish I would have got that. Now, as far as visuals go, so this was shot on IMAX. That means that this is going to have alternate aspect ratios throughout. There's going to be points where it fills up your entire screen, and you're going to be able to tell that's when they shot in IMAX, and that's where this film looks the best it could possibly look. And actually, it's just going to be one of the best looking 4Ks you've seen all year from those IMAX shots. It is gorgeous. IMAX, obviously, you've seen this before with Christopher Nolan movies where it's alternating between aspect ratios. That's going to happen throughout this entire film. It happened in theaters, but it's going to be much more noticeable at home. So when you see it going between aspect ratios, that is the reason why. The bigger aspect ratio, the 1.78 aspect ratio is going to be your IMAX aspect ratio, and then the 2.20 is going to be its regular aspect ratio, and that's when you're going to see the black bars on the top and bottom. There is no Dolby Vision on this. It's only HDR10, and I don't think you needed Dolby Vision on it. Would it have been nice to see? Absolutely, but like I said, this is a modern film. It was filmed with the best cameras on purpose. This was really made to be seen in theaters, but they did a great job of bringing that theater experience home. I think they did a phenomenal job, actually. I thought this looked gorgeous on my TV screen yesterday. The only thing is, it does get a little jarring because it is a quality dip from the IMAX shots to the regular shots. And like in one scene, you'll see them switching aspect ratios more than once. I'm not going to lie, it can be a little bit distracting at points. So just be aware that's what's going on. But my God, those IMAX shots are gorgeous. I love it when they do that. They did it in Tenet. They've done it since The Dark Knight. And when they do that, I really do appreciate it. It just makes films like this, these really big theater experiences, being able to get them brought home is incredible, and I think they did a great job with the visuals. Now, the audio is also extremely awesome. It's a Dolby Atmos track. I saw this in theaters, and I knew that the mix on this was really good. Were they able to replicate it at home? I think they did a great job replicating this at home. I mean, there were points where my house was shaking. I thought they did an awesome job. Now, this is a horror movie, so that I always feel like those movies do make great use of all your speakers for some reason. I feel like I've always had great experiences with Atmos tracks on horror films or big action films. Obviously, those are the ones that are going to be less dialogue driven, but this film does have a lot of dialogue, and it does move pretty slow through the first two acts, but I still did think that the audio was phenomenal. I had no issues where I thought that the dialogue track was lower than the actual action that's going on around it. Sometimes that could be an issue. I had no issue. I didn't experience any issue with that here. So visuals and audio-wise, man, what a disc as far as that goes. Now, the biggest flaw for some people are going to be that there are not much extras on there. I've said on this channel, I asked for one big extra on a 4K or a Blu Ray release that I would just be over the moon about, and that is if they put a documentary on there. And there is a 58-minute making-of documentary with interviews of the cast and crew, including Jordan Peele, Keke Palmer, Daniel Kaluuya, pretty much everybody that was involved in the film, the production designer, everybody that's involved. They have a great 58-minute documentary that I ate up for about an hour. I loved every second of it. That's the stuff that really drives me to watch the extras. I just want to see these people talk about the passion, what went into making this film, what made the actors sign on, what made the production designer, what choices went into making this film, what were they thinking when writing the script. And this is actually one of the best, and to be on a first initial release is very, you got to realize how rare that is, because that doesn't happen often. Usually that's something that's saved for down the line when Arrow Video gets a hold of this or something and they get interviews. But to have an actual documentary being made while they were making the film and then getting it on this 4K Blu-ray release, for me, that really does add to the value of it. I really thought that was great. But there are not a lot of other extras. There's some bloopers and stuff like that. But don't expect a long list of extras. But for that documentary alone, for me, it does get a thumbs up. I'm very happy that that's there. So overall, what did I think of this entire 4K Blu-ray release for Nope? Well, I think the film is really good, so that really does help it. The visuals and audio are amazing, and that's to be expected for a 2022 release with the kind of work that went into making this film. The extras, for me, I thought they were great, even if they are a little bare bones, but that documentary is definitely going to be worth your time. If you're a fan of Jordan Peele and you're a fan of Nope, you're going to want to check that out. So my biggest weakness, and the thing that's going to take some points off, is just the packaging on the standard release. Not on the Steelbook, but on its standard release. I like the slipcover, but I do not like that black 4K Ultra HD bar being doubled up on the case and on the actual printout artwork. That really does bother me, and it really does kind of affect the overall grade, because I don't know if it's a mistake or just a poor art choice, but it does reek of laziness for me, and it just bothers me that that slipped through quality control or nobody brought it up, or it could just be me being very anal about a very, very, very minor issue. Who knows? I could be just making a big deal out of nothing. But that's the one thing that really bothers me. So overall, what would I give this out of 10? I think that this is a solid 8.5 out of 10. Overall, it's a really great package. It's a great film. If you're a fan of Jordan Peele's movies, I would definitely recommend picking this up. Now, it's a universal release, so more than likely this will be on Groove pretty soon, where you can get it at a lower price, so if you could wait. Also, Black Friday is right around the corner, and being a studio release, more than likely this will also be on sale at a much lower price than what it is right now. So I recommend waiting for that. Unless you're a huge fan of Nope and you couldn't wait to get your hands on this 4K Blu-ray, then I can definitely recommend going out and getting it now, because it is definitely high quality. And if you want to just grab this right from Amazon, we do have an Amazon affiliate link, and we will put that link in the description below. It's no extra cost to you, and it really does help the channel out. And as always, guys, thank you for being a fan of Let's Talk. Please make sure you like, share, and subscribe, and tell all your friends.